Harry Maguire Jr. says, "Bro, am I starting to see more on-site? He says, bro, I'm starting to see more on-site IT jobs. Why? I haven't seen that, Harry. But I mean, it could. I'll tell you. I'll tell you what. Depending on what state it's in, and I think there's a few states that I could say like that state's probably going to have more on-site IT jobs. That's got a lot to do with the real estate market, my friend, because some of these companies, they're in like 10 to 15-year leases with their building, and
Yeah.
they can't get out of it. And so now that everyone's at home and not working in the building, they're still stuck paying for that building. They're like, well, crap.
Well, now I think most of the companies that wanted to do the on-site thing are back to the office. I know like my company is like that, but my team has always been remote. So like we've never been required to be in an office. My team's like all over the place. But I know some people that work for my same company, they're in the office depending on what they do. So sometimes the IT jobs, it kind of depends on what your job is. Some of them, most of them are pretty friendly to do remote, but there might be a few niche ones that where they want you there. But of course, there's always going to be those companies that are going to cling to the old ways of doing stuff. You know, just like if you go the non-conventional route and you don't get a degree, there's some companies that won't hire you because you don't have a degree. But you know what? It doesn't really matter because there's so many that will overlook that if you have the skill and will hire you without a college degree, just as there's so many full remote jobs that you can find out there in IT. And going back to what we were saying earlier on the if it's your first job thing, I would say, you know, if you want to get a remote job one day, if that's like a big goal for you and you're not finding that as your first job, I would say be willing to take the on-site one even just for a little bit of time. I mean, when I took my first job, I only worked there for a year and a half before I jumped over to the security team within the same company. So don't think you have to do it forever either, but yeah, I would be a little bit more flexible on the first job. I know Harry's like looking for his first, that's why I brought it up.
Yeah, William was that way too. He was like, for him, it was like one of those things that it was a non-negotiable, like it had to be remote. And then a month or two into him looking, he started to think that he was never going to get one, and he was like, well, if I actually found one that was remote, I would consider it. And I was like, dude, that it would be worth it. Like you just 12 months later, you would just leave.
Yeah.
Luckily, he did get one, or he did get a remote one. But yeah, Max and he's touching on the how to negotiate for your first job. He says get multiple offers from different companies. That is the one thing that you can do for your first job if you're an entry level that will actually give you guys some power over and you can tell them that too. You don't have to tell them in a mean way. You don't have to be like, "Oh, I have 3 offers that are so much more than you." You can just tell them like, "Yeah, and actually, guys, I'll tell you, I'll make this story short real quick, but out of personal experience, I've been in that situation several times, and the last time that I was in that situation, I just straight up told the company that I liked the most, who wasn't giving me the maximum amount of money in the offer. I just told them they were at like a $6,000 difference from what this other company was giving me, and I just straight up told them I was like, listen. One of the other companies that I'm applying to, they ended up giving me an offer, and it's the exact amount of money that I want, and there's like a $6,000 difference between them and y'all, and I actually prefer you guys. I'd rather work for you guys. So if that's all that I ask, could you guys just do that? And they're like, yeah, no problem.